Qué Golazo Monday means one thing. It's Fabrizio Romano as we discuss Julian Nagelsmann and the RB Leipzig manager, possible move to Bayern Munich. We also discuss how the transfer market was affected or not affected by the Super League. We talk Real Madrid, Liverpool, PSG, Juventus, and Andrea Pirlo, Man City, and so much more. Qué Golazo with Fabrizio Romano begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo on this Monday. And Monday means one thing, Fabrizio Romano with his latest transfer information. Fabrizio, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine, thank you, my friend. Happy for Champions League coming back. And also after this crazy Super League week, we are ready. Also with big transfers coming, so it will be so interesting to stay in touch today and in the next days.
Absolutely. I feel that now that the Super League dust is settling, it's finally talking about things going back to normal. So let's talk about it. Let's focus first, Fabrizio, on Julian Nagelsmann. Crazy stuff here. Well, not that crazy because we do feel that he's such a talented manager. RB Leipzig was never going to be a place he was going to stay for a long time. I was hearing Tottenham last week, maybe interested, but I'm hearing others, of course, remaining in the Bundesliga. What's the latest on Julian Nagelsmann, Fabrizio?
Yes, because obviously Tottenham interest is real because, as you said, we are talking about one of the most talented managers in the world. He's so young, but he's really interesting with his ideas and what he did with the Red Bull Group. But what he had to say is that Nagelsmann's priority is to join Bayern Munich, and Nagelsmann is the priority for Bayern Munich as next manager. So we know that Hansi Flick is going to leave the club in the next week, and let's see if he will complete his move to the German national team as we expect. But Nagelsmann is the priority in this moment for Bayern Munich. So they are ready to reach an agreement with the manager. The problem is not the agreement with the manager, the contract. So Nagelsmann is ready to join Bayern, and Bayern are pushing to sign Nagelsmann as new manager. The problem now is to find an agreement with Leipzig because we know that there is no release clause. Also from the last check I did today, no release clause in the contract of Nagelsmann with Red Bull Leipzig. So they need to negotiate Red Bull Leipzig and Bayern Munich after many things happened between the two clubs. Last one was Upamecano moving to Bayern Munich with the release clause paid to Red Bull Leipzig. Now is time again to negotiate for Julian Nagelsmann. So let's see if they can find an agreement. Rumors say that it's 25 million euro, the fee asked by Leipzig to make him free to join Bayern Munich. Let's see if they can find an agreement, but for sure, Nagelsmann wants to join Bayern Munich.
So it's very interesting, of course, because they're both obviously, Bayern Munich just needs that one win and they'll win the Bundesliga. RB Leipzig, of course, in second place. But also, being an RB, a Red Bull family, Fabrizio, I'm sure that I don't know how much you know about this, but I'm wondering about Jesse Marsch, the American manager from RB Salzburg. And maybe he would be the one to replace and go to RB Leipzig. How close could that be?
Yes, I was working also on this because it's important to see what Leipzig want to do with the next manager. And as you mentioned, Marsch is one of the options, maybe the most easy in this moment because in the same family with Salzburg, so he knows also how they work, and that's why he's the favorite. Keep an eye also on Erik ten Hag, the manager of Ajax, because he's always been appreciated by the Red Bull people and Red Bull family. So they want to look at this possible option if Marsch will not be elected as the best one. But we will see. For sure, Marsch and ten Hag are in the list for Leipzig after Nagelsmann is ready to leave the club.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have to obviously think about Tottenham and what they're going to do, if obviously Nagelsmann, it seems that obviously Bayern Munich will be the number one choice. All right, let's keep moving here, everybody, because really the other question that we wanted to ask today was, how does the transfer market, Fabrizio, now look without the Super League, right? So what are, I'm sure that the Super League shook a few things, specifically between former Super Leaguers and other clubs, etc. So I wanted to begin with Liverpool, right? A club that, it was part of the founding members. They have some players coming in. What's the latest with them and their transfers?
Yes, for Liverpool, we have to talk about the centre-back because we know that they had many problems with centre-backs. Okay, they signed Kabak in January, and they still have to decide about the future of Kabak, if buying him with a buy option from Schalke or not. So they will decide at the end of the season. But now they are going for Ibrahima Konate, the centre-back of Leipzig. They want him. They had the agreement with the player for 5 years. They are expected to pay the release clause in the coming days for 35 million euro. This is the release clause set to be paid to Red Bull Leipzig. So they are really, really one step away from signing Konate. We expect him to sign soon as new centre-back for Liverpool. So the plans of the top clubs also after the Super League disaster are still the same, trying to improve the clubs. My feeling after the Super League week is that many clubs were planning to get a lot of money, were planning for big moves, as we mentioned, Mbappe and many other players. Now, without this money and without the Super League, it's getting complicated. And if not complicated, for sure, it's getting longer. So it won't be so easy to go with big moves. Konate is an opportunity. So I expect the transfer market this summer with a lot of opportunities, a lot of release clause, a lot of this kind of stuff also for the top clubs looking at players like Konate, because with the release clause of 35 million euro is a big opportunity. But important transfers, enormous transfer for big stars will be complicated, like for Holland too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, let's move to Real Madrid for a second. Florentino Perez being the chairman of the Super League, so many moving parts. Sergio Ramos, of course, Luka Modric, I believe that signing a new contract was already done. And what's the latest on everything that's going on with Real Madrid? Because there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, because of Modric signed the contract and Florentino confirmed what he said on Qué Golazo and on CBS Sports many times. So Modric is staying. For Sergio Ramos, the situation is still open. Nothing decided. Also today, I was checking to understand if something was going to happen with Florentino or with Sergio, but at the moment it's still the same situation. So nothing decided and still absolutely open for Sergio Ramos. Let's see what happens with the big stars, because for sure they were talking also with Benzema to extend the contract for one more season. I expect Benzema to extend the contract with Real Madrid maybe in the next month, because it's not signed yet, but positive feelings around him. And as we always say, they are leading the race for David Alaba. It's not signed yet the contract, but David Alaba wants to join Real Madrid. The verbal agreement has been done, so I expect Alaba to join Real Madrid for the next season.
What does that mean for Raphael Varane? Because I feel that there's also conversations that maybe he's interested in the Premier League.
Yes, he's open to move in case that he can't find an agreement with Real Madrid to extend the contract. It's a problem for Real Madrid because we always mention Sergio Ramos and the other players with the contract expiring this summer. But remember that Varane has only 1 year left on his contract, and that's why he's a problem in this moment for Real Madrid, because there is still no agreement between Varane and Real Madrid to extend the contract. They are talking, but there is no agreement at the moment. So let's see if Real Madrid will change the proposal and keep Varane for the future, or the player could leave this summer to not have the same situation with Sergio Ramos with Varane again next summer. And that's why Real Madrid are considering this opportunity. And keep an eye on Premier League, as you said, because Varane is appreciated from some clubs in Premier League. There are also rumors around Paris Saint-Germain, but they expect Premier League as potential priority if he will leave Real Madrid.
Speaking of PSG, Neymar was meant to announce his new contract. Mbappe was looking closer. What's the latest on that? Did the Super League affect that at all?
Affecting the timing more than the contract. Is affecting the timing, because we were expecting Neymar to sign the contract a few days ago, but after the Super League, it was a complicated one with Nasser Al-Khelaifi, because Paris Saint-Germain were not involved in the Super League, but Nasser Al-Khelaifi is the new president right now of the ECA, and they're working so hard to go against the Super League. So Paris Saint-Germain were so busy with the Super League situation, also if they were not included in the 12 clubs starting this new competition. But we can say that Paris Saint-Germain are still so confident for Neymar to extend the contract. So they have the agreement, the verbal agreement with Neymar. They are just waiting for him to sign the contract, to put the paper, and then sign the contract and announce in a big style the new contract of Neymar. For Mbappe, the situation is basically the same. As we said for Sergio Ramos, they are still negotiating between Paris Saint-Germain and Mbappe, but there is still no agreement, and he wants more than 25 million euro after taxes per season. So that's why it's absolutely not easy also without the new money for the top clubs.
Yeah, and I guess all depends as well if they win the Champions League, etc., and League A. Listen, another thing I wanted to discuss as well, we began with a manager. I want to talk about another manager. You were mentioning, you reported as well per Italian TV, I believe, Andrea Pirlo and Juventus. You know, they tied Fiorentina. You know, Napoli plays as we speak on this day. There's a lot of things going on with Juventus, and they might not get Champions League next year. What is Andrea Pirlo's fate if that happens?
So I take your assist just to say that remember that sometimes also when the executive of the clubs, the board of the club speaks, you have never to trust them also if you are in the last part of the season, because Fabio Paratici, the sport director of Juventus, was saying, okay, Andrea Pirlo is staying 100%. Also, if we get the Champions League, obviously, but also without the Champions League, we are convinced with him. What I can tell you is that there is real danger for Andrea Pirlo, and he knows about it, because also after the last match, it was a draw with Fiorentina. He was talking after the match and saying, the situation, I know that the club is not so happy with me, and I am not so happy with the situation. So Andrea knows that he is in real danger. Let's see what happens at the end of the season. Let's see what happens in the next 5 matches. They have also the domestic cup final against Atalanta. The Coppa Italia final is so important for him. But for sure, Andrea Pirlo is in real danger. And let's see what Juventus will decide, because Paratici, sport director, said, yes, we're going on with him, but at the moment they are still not 100% convinced with Andrea Pirlo for the next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trusting any of that. And as you mentioned, the cup final is a major part as well for Andrea Pirlo. And he's not stupid. He knows that things are not going his way. He gets it. So we'll have to see what happens there. All right, well, let's end on a good note for Manchester City, because they're getting a lot of South American talent coming in. Obviously, we know about Keiki to Man City. There's another Brazilian gem heading that way.
Yes, and he's coming from Fluminense, same age, so 17, and he will come when he will be 18. And we're talking about Metinho, midfielder. Keiki is a striker, is a winger. Metinho is a midfielder, but quality player, typical Brazilian and South American player, better than me. And will be so interesting to see also him in Europe, because maybe Keiki will join immediately Manchester City, obviously the academy, and then they will decide about him. But with Metinho, it's a bit different, because he could go on loan to Troyes in France for 1 season. But for sure, they were really pushing to have both players, Keiki, but also Metinho. And now the agreement for Metinho is really, really close for €5 million with add-ons to Fluminense. And so let's see if Manchester City will go also with 2 new talents from Brazil.
Wow. And also, Man City's young talent is all over. We saw, of course, Jadon Braff for Udinese. They're just everywhere. Man City's just building.
Fantastic goal for Braff. Fantastic goal, interesting player, really. He seems so serious. Dutch talent is really so interesting. And remember that Udinese have the buy option. So let's see what happens with Manchester City.
Absolutely. Well, and we will have it here always, of course, with Fabrizio Romano. Always good to have you here, brother. Make sure that you follow him on Twitter, on Instagram. Read his Here We Go pieces on CBS Sports. Fabrizio Romano, grazie.
Thank you so much. Hello, guys, and have a nice week on Qué Golazo and on CBS Sports with Champions League, Europa League. Fantastic.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Fabrizio Romano for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. We are on Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you follow us there and leave a 5-star rating and review. We're also on Spotify, on Stitcher, YouTube, CBSSports.com. This week is busy. The Champions League semifinals, the Europa League semifinals, and so much more. Have a great beginning to your week.